Hello everyone. Thanks for listening in on your very busy days under MCO. Before we start, a quick introduction to ETHKL. So ETHKL is a meetup that's focused on the technology and use cases of blockchains, primarily Ethereum. And we provide an opportunity for the local community to learn about the technology, about the projects from around the world, and for other people from other places to learn about our community. Our sponsor is ETHKL, who's kindly lent us their Zoom account. And also shout out to other communities in Malaysia. So Bitcoin Malaysia, FinTech Association of Malaysia, the G1 Group, and Access Malaysia. And lastly, thank you for all three speakers for lending us your time. I'd love to get you to say you're welcome, but you're on mute right now. In the meantime, I'll just go ahead. So for anyone who has any questions, feel free to ask it in the Telegram group. And Tokenize has kindly offered a promo code. So if you enter the promo code Tokenize ETH, so that's Tokenize capital T with Z and ETH capitalized. If you enter that, then you get 15 tokenized points worth 15 ringgit. We will also give a proof of attendance protocol NFT that's unique if you text your meetup name in the Telegram group. Okay, so that's the hygiene stuff done. And we will start the discussions. I'll unmute the speakers one by one for you guys to speak. And for the speakers, if you want to chip in, you can raise your hand. There's a button on the right side of the Zoom call, and I'll unmute you when you do that. So to begin, I always like to ask our speakers to share their personal story with cryptocurrency. Like, how did you fall down the rabbit hole? When did you do it? And just share a bit more on the personal side for yourself. So maybe to start, we can go with Aaron.
Awesome. Thanks, Harith. So for me, it started back in 2016. I think I've always been interested in the investment side of things, and I was looking for a hedge to hedge my investments, because I think at that point of time the US dollar was appreciating and the ringgit was weakening. I think something we're all very familiar with. So I stumbled upon this awesome new technology called Bitcoin. And then I remember my first, I think I put only like 100 ringgit or something, 200 ringgit. It was purely from an investment perspective. And I'm like, oh, you know, this sounds really cool, but if it blows up, if it goes to zero, that's okay. But once I put that first money in, it's just like a slippery slope, right? Like you fall in love with the technology, you start reading, you start learning about ICOs, and then ever since then, I've just been on this slippery slope. So I quit my job I was a trainer before this. I quit my job and then I joined full-time in Luno since 2018 January. So that's been 2 years now.
Cool, thanks, Aaron. Job?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, cool. Exactly when is hard because I started later than I actually heard about it. I remember being around on Bitcoin Pizza Day, right? For those that are listening in and not familiar, Pizza Day was the first day when someone bought 2 pizzas with 10,000 Bitcoin, right? But you know, I hadn't participated in Bitcoin myself. It was just something interesting that popped up on the feed, and just left it be, right? Pizza Day came and went. It was a small note in my head. And then maybe a couple of years later, in 2012, I think, one of my buddies came and he was like, you know, hey, here's this cool thing I'm being paid with. It's called Bitcoin. And I'm like, oh yeah, isn't that 10K for a pizza thing? And the guy comes out and says, yeah, it's 13 USD a Bitcoin now. And I'm like, what? Say what? Right? I was like, oh man, I guess I really should have paid attention a bit sooner than that. But you know, after I heard that, I thought just jump into it back and see what, put all the other geeky projects aside. It quickly became a hobby. Fast forward a bit, I was mining at home and then trading Bitcoin, Doge, and Ripple, right, on Kraken when it first came out. My fave alt at the time was Dogecoin, actually, because of the community. And I'm still a fan, right? It's the coolest community out there. Well, we sponsored a NASCAR, which I'm wearing the shirt for right today. It's like some OG swag, right? But yeah, so after that, I was sold, right? That's pretty much my rabbit hole, and yeah, I've been around since.
So are you a Bitcoin billionaire, or are you one of those
Nah,
that
I
lost
wish, it went up a little
your
bit. I
coins?
sold, and then I was like, yeah, I made some money, and then now I'm like, God damn it.
Job's
Yeah,
not
I
gonna
think
admit it, right? I don't think it's gonna admit it.
It's all gone, man. It's all gone.
yeah. We believe you. QI, what's your story? You gotta unmute yourself quick.
Okay, let me unmute myself. Can you hear me? Yeah. So I think I pretty much know Bitcoins back in my uni times, back in 11, 12, 7, 8 years back then. But I don't really believe in Bitcoin, you see. So I cannot make sense of it. So only until 1.7 when I'm involved more of my time in coding. Then due to one opportunity, I chanced upon Ethereum smart contract. That's where I actually brought my first crypto, which is actually Ethereum. And I need that is because I need that to actually write my smart contract, and that's how I get hands-on. But previously, I already active trading in different asset class, like stock market, forex. So it become intriguing me with these new asset classes. Then I hands-on invest more on Ethereum. Then slowly I ask myself why not Bitcoin, and get my hands on Bitcoin also, Bitcoin Cash, and so on. Then I get hooked up. Like I get more and more investment to cryptos, and it's just nice. Very very lucky. It's at a good time. I think we have the one of the best rally back then, and yeah, it's just very motivating. When there is up, there is down. So I have through the winter also. That's the whole story. Yep. And until now. Yep.
All right. So now that you've
Yeah,
I'm good
are
now.
we? Is the YouTube live? I got a note from the guy saying that it's not.
Yes. So there was an issue with YouTube links. Apparently, we are actually on a different link.
All right.
So for anyone who is, well, I guess if you're on the call, you don't need to. But if you know any friends who are stuck on the other link, ask them to join the Telegram group, which the invite link is in the meetup page. The current YouTube link is in there.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, and point to that one. Apologies for some technical issues. We're very tech savvy over here. But yeah, so now that we've heard your personal stories, would you be able to share how your exchange started? So for we can start with Aaron, but for in Luno's case, maybe how it started in Malaysia, and the story with the shutting down for a while and opening back.
Cool. Thanks, Harry. So I see Colbert in the YouTube. So hi, Colbert. I think Colbert was involved back then when Luno first started in Malaysia. We started in Malaysia back in 2015. I actually started in 2018. So for the first couple of years, Luno was running, I guess, pretty okay. And then, as everyone knows, in December 2017, our Maybank account got frozen. So this is a common misconception, right? The misconception is that Bank Negara had something to do with it. The real story is that Maybank by themselves decided to shut it down. Basically, they call it de-risking. They're saying that we don't want to take the risk of running with cryptocurrency exchanges. So so imagine December 2017, bank account got shut down. January 2018 is when I started. So basically, I'm the kambing korban or straight into the fire, whatever you call it, right? My first job is basically to call people and say, sorry, we're working on it, you get your money back. Those were crazy times. But yeah, I think we really persevered. We actually found help in the form of MolePay to help us pay out all the customer withdrawals. And basically, we went to every single bank. Every single bank, we knocked on their door, say like, do you want to work with us? And it took years. It took I think it took almost 2 years before we finally got, as you know, we work with mBank now. Yeah, it basically, for crypto, it basically goes to the board of directors of the bank. So it's not an easy thing to get a bank account, as everyone else would know. But thank God we made it, and we're still going strong now.
And so for Job and QY, I guess another angle to your answer to this question is how on April Fools, right in the middle of lockdown, business suddenly started. So walk us through how the story was for you guys. Job first.
Right. So yeah, April Fool's Day, right? It was pretty cool. In case anything didn't go live, you can just come out and say April Fools. But yeah, so Sinegy, basically we started back in 2017 in a small office in Bangkok Lane. If anyone's been to Penang, Bangkok Lane is famous for a mee goreng sotong. So we were like just a few doors away where you could smell it as it was being cooked, right? That's where we started. I was roped into the discussion by one of the team today, Shen. He's a buddy of mine, and well, we met up in this little office space uh, on that road, and you know, basically in the room we had a good mix of folks, right? There were software devs and traditional finance folks, and I think that's what really made the difference for us this time with the traditional finance folks. The conversation actually for the first time being roped into other discussions prior, the question had always been, how to moon or how to get rich quick. That's always what they want the crypto fella in the room for, right? How do I make money? How do I scam or something like that? But this is the first time where we had a conversation where crypto was being discussed fundamentally as its asset class, and I think that for me is what sold it to me on this bunch of fellas in that little room there. It was really fun. We threw around some really crazy ideas, some that we can't really even talk about online, right? But in the end, we settled on the idea of an exchange being the best fit, and that's pretty much how it began.
QY?
Yep, I think yeah, on the 1st of April, I think a lot of my contact actually asked me, am I doing a April job that I'm launching? Yeah, I think luckily that yeah, I mean, it's really a challenging time. We are in a pandemic situations, but we are still grateful. Almost 9 to 10 months of hard work, we finally can operate officially in Malaysia. We actually back in Malaysia market since 2018. We started around July. We also like Luno facing a lot of challenge. I think Luno at least can enjoy a bit longer tenure, but we have a banking issue back then. The bank tried to raise us almost 1 month into business, so a very challenging times at the early days. Then early January last year, they have to go through the regulation motion. Glad that we made it. Yeah, now I think why we started exchanges at the early days, I think the reason is pretty simple. I started back in Singapore first, although I'm Malaysian, because I've been in Singapore for the past 12 years. The reason is the local exchanges is still quite lacking. During the time that I started, there are a lot of exchanges out there, crypto to crypto, but using local currency to access digital like Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Ripple, it's just and I think that's really motivate me to I'm a coder. So what can I try to do to improve this ecosystem, and exchange come first into my picture, and that's why I started. And yeah, never imagine that the journey until now still very motivating, and we have a different goal now. Singapore, we also try to be a licensed exchange in Singapore. Yeah, we need to be a licensed exchange in Malaysia. So our goal is just to provide accessibility, on the fiat side, on the local currency, no matter which country, to the new audience, right? Because I think that's how we can bring the first entrance to our ecosystem, right, and expand our ecosystem. Yep, that's the idea. Yeah.
All right. So it's been, I think, a bit more a year and a half around from when the regulations were first announced. And I think there were about 22 applications for a license, and we end up with the three of you. Now that it's been a while, is it okay to share the experience of the whole regulatory side of things? How was the application? Any challenges, any sort of workarounds that you guys had to work with? We can go with Aaron first.
Cool. So I think probably, I mean, Job and Hong can share their perspective, but I suspect it will be pretty similar. It's a lot of, well, you know, we speak about cryptocurrency, right? We speak about a decentralized world. You know, we speak about being independent. You know, as if you know, we are, you know, completely freedom, right? This kind of concepts come true. But when it comes to regulation, right, it's very, very, very how would I say, everything has to be very organized, everything has to be very formal, there must be procedures for everything. So this is, I guess, the exercise that we have had to go through. We had to prove that we had strong operating procedures for everything. We had to prove the strength of our management team. We had to prove the strength of our IT system. And then the way the SC works is when you submit your application, they'll come back to you with feedback on, okay, you're lacking in part A, part B, part C. So please go and rectify it, then come back. So depending on how many things that the SC is satisfied or not satisfied with, you have to keep going through the process of refinement until they are satisfied. So that's basically you can call it an iterative process, but you know, it's definitely not what you would think of when you talk about the unregulated cryptocurrency freedom space, right? It became a very, very disciplined process. Yeah, that's my thoughts. Keen to hear the others though.
Job, your side?
Yep. Yeah. So, no, definitely, I can agree with Aaron right there, especially on the iterative part, right? You know, they give you 20 questions, you answer 20 questions, 50 more would come back, and it's like, but you know, all in all, it was a good eye opener. You know, I think it dropped around Chinese New Year last year when the requirements came out around the holidays. So yeah, you can imagine the additional chaos, right? That on top of the holidays, you're running around trying to get things done. And one thing, you know, aside from everything that Aaron mentioned, one thing I'd like to highlight is the general view out there is when you deal with the government submissions, it's like just a bunch of bureaucratic paper pushing, right? But the moment you sit in front of the regulators is a different deal. They really do put you through the ringer to make sure you know what you know. And if anyone assumes that they don't know what they're talking about, you know, just get ready to be caught, you know, if you're trying to BS your way through it. I think all in all, while it made it harder, it did give us a good confidence that these guys were here to regulate us for the real deal, just on someone's whim and fancy that they should be looking into digital assets. Yeah, while yes, it's quite restrictive, but I can appreciate the conservative approach that they would take to make sure that, you know, we don't come in and blow things up, right? And if you think about it, it's not just about regulating, you know, just the orders, like what Aaron said, right? You've got your strength of your team, your processes. They really, really, really ask every question, and they keep asking, why is this and why is that and why is this? So you got to be prepared, and if you don't know your stuff, you'd be caught hanging, right? So it is good. I'd like to say that, well, it was no small feat, right? I think the final submission was 300 or 400 pages long, if I remember, right? But the team really had to cover all the bases, and they came through, and you know, and they delivered. So appreciative of that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think pretty much our situations like what Joe shared just now. Yeah, I think from the applications, is quite short, quite a short period and go through the whole motions. But I think we quite determined. We feel that regulator actually is the way to go, and this is how we need to proper forward. So go through all the motion. Definitely, it's much more challenging than what I expect. Putting another point of view is that we really appreciate on the regulatory their effort, and also how they the whole thing. I think Malaysia is moving very fast on the regulation side. As industry player, we are in this industry for time, but I think the regulator's point of view is something we might oversight. And I'm glad that a lot of questions they ask. It is definitely not easy. Just like what Aaron shared just now. There are iteration. It's just like, you are developing a software. You are expecting after alpha, beta, then you can go to China and launch. But it's not that the case, right, on the process side. Especially from version 1, there are some versions we communicate with SC, go until version 10, and then we might find it through. Right? So it's really challenging. But for the process, I think we learn a lot. But start, we don't really care about process. I will be honest, a lot of people don't even document it down, right? But from that moment when we go through the motions, we grow a lot, and we take very seriously approach right now on all the processes, and hopefully also up a lot of our games now. In the industry currently, let's say for the digital asset side, to have a custody and to have an independent key trustee, I believe Malaysia is the only country that has this requirement, and I believe that it will really put community into a very safe and secure in terms of exchange. Yeah. So.
All right, thanks, guys. So we need to take a short, quick advertisement break without any advertisements because there is another technical issue where we have to renew our Zoom call. So for those of you guys on YouTube, just chill out there for a while. We will set up a new Zoom call with unlimited time, and we'll let you know when to refresh so that you can rewatch the link. And if it's a new link, we'll share with you as well. So apologies for that, guys. We'll come back to you right in a bit.